G'day and welcome, mad micro RC modders like myself. This video is a bit of holiday fun, I suppose you'd say. I got one of these foam gliders that cost like 50 cents or $1. They come in a packet. I tried to get the Warbirds because they're heaps cooler, but I'm not getting this cheap dodgy one. By the way, if you use a cheap dodgy one for any projects, just measure the wings. Some of them have a bigger wing on one side to make the plane sort of circle back to you. That was the case with this one. If you don't check and you build a micro RC with a larger wing on one side, it will tend to turn really well in one direction and bugger all in the other direction. So anyway, when I was a kid I used to get these, make them, play with them, I used to get wrecked. Basically I always wanted to make an RC one, but back when I was a kid there wasn't equipment that would fit inside one, so it was almost an impossible feat. But now it's not. So I took one of these, or two of these, I added a little bit of Plantraco magic, and I built this. This is a, two-channel Plantraco RC plane. It's basically got the smallest receiver they sell, cost about $15 for that receiver. The actuator on the back, I got the smallest one they sell, which is a little more expensive than the half-gram one I should have used for this application at least. Don't get me wrong, the actuator is a little damaged now, as you can probably see, but it put up with 50 crashes in an application that it wasn't meant for. It's not meant to be crashed hard. So it still flies, it still works, it's just lost its central positioning, which doesn't affect it when it's in flight. I used a motor out of a Coke can car. It's basically the same size motor and approximately the same RPMs as a lot of the Coke can car motors. And the propeller is just an old prop I had laying around. Yeah, basically that's the plane. I did do a build with the plane. I'll just quickly show a picture now without the KF airfoil, which is these two extra sections that you see here. So I'll just, actually yeah, I'll show a bit of flight footage of the plane as it was. I basically built the plane using a standard wing, so it had a wing like this, not a wing like that, and I did try and fly it and such, and it was okay, but it didn't have quite enough lift, so I'll show that footage now. Okay, so for the maiden flights and the test flight setups and that, I went down to Dan's house. Dan grabbed the camera for me, and we sort of both went about trying to set the plane up. In the end, it was Dan's final adjustments that made the plane pretty much flyable. But by then, I think the battery was a bit low and the pilot was a bit stupid because it ends up somewhere it shouldn't. And the plane was fine, but yeah, definitely crashed it somewhere you wouldn't normally want to crash a plane. I'll leave that as a surprise as when it comes up. So yeah, also I mentioned before about planes, and if you're building a plane like this out of a kit like this, make sure the wings are the same size. It was literally about 8mm difference, but it was enough to affect the plane a great deal. You've got to remember, small micro RC stuff is much more affected by small changes. 8mm is a great deal on something that size, percentage-wise over its whole wing area. So, there you go. I'll let you watch the rest of this, I might comment again. Please enjoy, it was a lot of fun. This Plantraco stuff is tough, durable, you can crash it heaps, and it is a barrel of laughs. The plane wasn't, I mean it was flyable, but it wasn't as good as what I wanted, so this is pre-KF airfoil footage. There's more footage coming up later on with the KF airfoil.
You want to get out of trouble, you just turn left hard. No, that's enough. I'll take it off at full speed now, that's a nice change. Over the creek. Almost flyable, I've just got to... Did you have them both down the same or different?
No, I changed it on the tail.
Oh, okay. Because I think those were both down the same. This acted a bit weird then. looking at the tail, make sure I can get that the same. It's lost it, so I want to turn left all the time problem.
Yep, I got that off the tail.
No! Yeah! I think I trimmed it. Tight, so tight. Ah. Get out high, see how it will fix. Still wants to go a bit. That's trimmed nearly now, perfect already. When you get them trimmed though, then we go a little quicker. Will I get that infamous right turning though? I'll try it for the stall. I want a right turn. Just gonna. Ah, don't be doing that to me. Right turn, no? Doesn't want to do it though. No actuator. Still got throttle. Battery's still okay. Just wet board.
Swim in the creek.
Yeah, board will dry off and the actuator should work again, that'll be it.
So yeah, the plane was a bit of a struggle to fly and get right. And then Dan was filming at the time and he said, needs a KF airfoil. He was right. Basically put a KF airfoil on it that night when I got home from his house. Went and flew it the next day or that afternoon, late somewhere, I can't remember. I've been testing and flying this one on and off quite a bit. And the second I put the KF airfoil on it, the plane was amazing. It's actually a barrel laughs to fly. KF airfoil. Why would you put a KF airfoil on any plane, or why do I tend to put them on almost every plane in the end? Because they just work so well. With foam and stuff, these 2mm Depron sheets of foam, which I believe this is made out of, or even if you use the thicker foam, to make a proper shaped wing. This has a curved wing normally, which is just that normal sort of curved shaped wing, instead of the shaped wing that's like a bit of a teardrop shape. Making the teardrop shaped type wings, or a proper aero wing, is actually out of foam a little harder. You've got to sand off a lot of material, it takes a bit of time to get it right. KF airfoil works better, and by having a V in the KF airfoil, it also helps centralise some of these pressures. If you can imagine that, what happens when you've got a step like that, because all it is a step basically. When you have a step like that, imagine the air goes over the step and you get like a little spinning sort of tube of air that spins off that lip as air runs over the top. And it produces like a Magnus effect for the air almost, and it creates this magical lift. But by having the KF airfoil slightly tapered as well, it actually helps keep the plane more centralised and upright. It's like you're almost sort of pulling it up sort of this way with a V shape. It's essential in a lot of small builds, not essential, but unless you want to spend a lot of time mucking around to get a plane right, KF airfoils are the way to go. Anyway, I'll just show the footage now of the plane after the KF airfoil was fitted, and you can see the difference in flying and performance in that. because yeah, it was definitely a lot more controllable after the KF airfoil was put on there. Okay, this is the plane with the KF airfoil. Now I also chopped off the extra bit on the left wing, so the plane ended up much more balanced out, and it's actually flyable. It was actually great to enjoy. I've even flown it in a slight breeze, or I suppose wind, small amount of wind, and the plane coped extremely well and was actually even more fun again, because when you're flying with a two-channel plane, you can use the wind a bit more to help you pull stunts and things. So, this won't be the end for this one. I'm definitely going to put a more powerful actuator on it that will give more throw, so I'll have more steering response, and I'll also put a more powerful motor with more RPMs on it, and I'll try changing up a few different props as well. So there'll most likely be another video of this one. Put in the comments if you want to see more of these sort of builds and things. I mean, I'd really like to do one of these in a Warbird, same style of plane and that, but do a 3-channel instead. I think I could have a lot of fun with that. So, yeah, the tree. Anyway, please enjoy the footage, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video.
Bring it back, just far back there. Got to hard turns, you just drop the throttle on it a bit. Oh.
So yeah, I was going to do a Patreon build on this plane, but partway through the build I lost a bit of footage of the build, and also the first time I ever worked with one of these micro actuators of this size, with these wires that are finer than human hair. Yeah, soldering those and being careful with those and filming with a magnifying glass and that sort of stuff didn't work out so well. So I think what I will do is I'll probably rework this plane. I'm going to put a more powerful motor on it, and I'm going to put a different actuator on it, one up here. I'll mount a 1/2 gram one with a pivot back, so I've got a bit of adjustment as well. And yeah, I'll enjoy this one, do some more footage of it after it's modified further, because it should have enough power to do loops, and should be a great deal more controllable. Should be able to do tighter turns. Oh, I even flew it in my front yard, which is a really tight space for a plane like this when you're setting up. So anyway, I'll show that footage now. Hope to come up with another video by next week or sooner. I've got quite a few in edit and quite a few on the go at the moment, being the holidays. And yeah, also Patreon, if you're a Patreon follower or you want to be, the first, well the second, I think it is, Patreon video will be out on Saturday night. It's a week late, I'm sorry to those that have already signed on. It will be a tech talk basically about Plantraco. If you want to use this Plantraco equipment, you want to find out more about it, you want to know how to apply it, you know, it can be used on a plane, a boat, a car, pretty much any application you can think of. You can whack these on, little actuators and these sort of boards, and the 1/2 gram actuator, 1 gram actuator and board and motors are plug and play, no soldering. So all you have to do is get an airframe, build an airframe, glue your stuff on in a night, like an hour or so, and that's it, you're flying, just like that. So anyway, yeah, please share, subscribe, spread. Hope you like what you see, and yeah, I'll see you again within a week with the next video. I'll leave it as a surprise as to what it will be. And also, Steve, the guy that won the car, hasn't contacted me back yet. I'll give him another week and a half, Steve, if you're listening. Week and a half. Contact me back. If you don't, I'm going to have to give the car to the next person that won it. It's a 2,500 subscriber draw. Yeah, you might have still won. How's that sound? For now, anyway. We'll wait and see.